It's your boy. It's your man, Ian. Oh my Trinidad, Trinidad. It is so nice to be with you all again since last week. The hot content's coming, brother. The hot content's coming. The kitchen is open. It's been a minute. I was working up until the very last minute to create what I think might be my best presentation since college, which there have only been like what? Everybody, thank you so much for joining my presentation today on my experience at Pokemon Indianapolis Regionals, the first regional for Pokemon champions here in the great continent of North America. Indianapolis, known as the crossroads of America, and we experienced it with friends, with food, and some fun. Once again, apologies for the scuff. On this presentation, I do have a day job, and I landed yesterday, and I had work today. So if there is scuff, we're gonna call that craftsmanship charm. But this is the group that I went to Indianapolis with. We got Leslie. She's a streamer. If for some reason you guys don't know, Abe, who also streams, in case you guys didn't know. And then our friend David from Seattle, and myself, which I would say wonderful group to go with. I had a wonderful time with them. So the first day we got there was a Friday. Nothing too crazy, just flew in. I was very lucky. My flight was pretty empty. Actually, Leslie, Abe, and I were all in the same flight, and I think that's just because there's like not that many flights to Indianapolis from LAX. I will also say, if you are in LAX and you use the American Airlines terminal, that shit's actually like the back rooms. I had to go through like 4 different long tunnels just to find my way out. But for the most part, flight was easy. I actually didn't even have anyone sitting next to me, except for like an old Asian man, and we were kind of like separated in the aisle. And it was great. I slept the whole time. I will say this trip really illuminated something, and something that's been illuminated to me through my recent flying. I am so good on a plane, man. I'm like a baby. As soon as the G forces from taking off hit me, I go. And I will also say, if you have trouble sleeping, get yourself a neck pillow. They will change your life. You could sleep anywhere. It's awesome. So the first day flight was easy. We checked into the Airbnb, and then we went to go get our wristbands, which is I guess at this point for the 2 regionals we've been to. Very, very nice to get your wristband the day before. It means that when you go in for the tournament following, you don't have to worry about like waiting in line and then, you know, waking up extra early because the tournament starts at like 8:30, meaning you have to get there at 7 and you have to wait in line, blah, blah, blah. Really nice just to check out the venue, especially if you're staying close to there. Get your wristband, make everything go easy. As you can see, these 2 photos right here, this first room they had was like this massive room, and it was just empty. And really all we did was we got there. As you can see, 3 of my party members are hanging out here in the lobby of the convention center. And then I wish I collected more of these. They had these indie signs everywhere that we walked. And you stand there as the eye. And when we first got to the plane, we were like, that was so cute. And eventually we saw like 4 of them. And we were like, all right, we get it. But I do wish I took a picture of all of them. I only got 2. So maybe next time, if we go back to Indianapolis, that'll be great. These are some of the city sites of Indianapolis. I will say very charmed city, quite diverse as well. I was looking up like demographics, and apparently Indianapolis has like 50% white, which for a lot of other small cities in the middle of the country, it tends to scale a lot more white. So surprisingly diverse. The streets were kind of like nice and wide and open. It was relatively pretty busy too. I think most times of day that we were walking, you would always see other people. So that was really nice. But aside from that, we walked to the convention center, got our wristbands, got some dinner. We ate this place called Brew. That's this burger here. The burger was all right. And I didn't take a picture of it, but the mac and cheese, I said it after dinner to everybody there, but I was like, if I was by myself, I would have licked the mac and cheese bowl like clean. It was that good. It was so good they shouldn't call themselves Brew Burgers and whatever. They should call it Brew Mac and Cheese. It was that good. And then after that, we just went back, spent the night like prepping. I have a kind of funny video here of us at the Airbnb, and this is I'm gonna say team leader Leslie, kind of giving us the breakdown.
And then you have Cleaver, and they know you have Cleaver, and
Right.
they know you want to bring Cleaver.
You're so right.
Charizard.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? Basculation King Gambit in the lead. You have Cleaver. You're like, well, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna set up rocks.
Yeah.
Well, what happens when they boom Aqua Jet Sucker Punch? Boom boom.
I don't think they're gonna do that.
You don't think that's gonna happen?
Well, I mean, it could, but wait, well, what do we have in the other slot?
I don't know.
What?
I'm scared of it. Cause it happened. It happened to me. That's why.
Did
I
Joe
died.
do that to you?
The ladder did it to me.
Oh shit.
And so
The ladder did it to me.
I want you to be aware that this can happen.
This makes me so happy watching this back. This is so much fun.
Hold on, let me pull up the
Coach,
The-
coach, what?
The dynamics of our group too is really funny. Leslie, I think, is the most spirited. I am just a button clicker. I just kind of trust my gut. I think it's a fighting game player in me. And David is like a very calculated player. He's I think he's the best of the three of us. The three of us all ran the same team. Which is why it's mostly the three of us talking. I think Abe is in this video as well. He's in the corner. I don't know. Oh, there he is. He ran his own team, and there was just like a whole other thing. But I just kind of went by vibes. David is very like a very safe player. He's like very calculated. And Leslie, I think, is always a little overwhelmed in terms of how to remember things. So, but when she locks in, she definitely gets it. So that was the first day, pretty straightforward. And not much to report because the main thing we tried to focus on was getting to sleep early. Another thing that was very funny, we were in downtown and we were like, oh, I wonder if it's gonna be hard to sleep. Lo and behold, not only is it tough to sleep because we're trying to sleep at like 8 p.m. our biological time, since we're all coming from the West Coast and Indianapolis is on East Coast time, but additionally, there was we were basically staying in like a loft style situation, and it was on the corner of a major intersection of like downtown. And I didn't know this, but people love motorcycles in Indianapolis. And so at one point of the night, David and I are like both awake, but we're both trying to sleep, and we just hear a wait, let me get my motorcycle on. And it was at a noise level that I was like, oh, they must be going around pretty fast because they're ripping their bike. I don't think I've ever heard a bike move slower in my entire life. It was as if I felt like Toph from The Last Airbender. I could, with my ears, tell where precisely outside of the apartment this motorcycle was. Thankfully, we did get some sleep. And even though we weren't sleeping, we were like resting most of the day, so it wasn't too much of a problem. But yeah, tough night first sleep. Tough sleep first night, but all in all, successful first day. And yeah. So day 2, it's breakfast and tournament time. Leslie was so magnanimous enough to order us breakfast. Also, thank you, Leslie, as well for the Airbnb and for the dinner. And so we put in this order for Einstein Bagels, and when they came to drop it off, they forgot the coffee. And from the walk the day before, I knew that we did not have coffee on the way. So that did not bode well, and I dare say might have been the precursor of some other issues that transpired in the day. So I hope you guys like the effort I put into the illustration in the bottom right, because there was no coffee. However, you'll notice the picture next to it. There were a lot of freaking people there. There was like double the amount of people from LA here. Um, really, really crazy. Genuinely, like it hit me when we walked in. I was like, oh man, there's like 1,000+ people here. I think if I recall correctly, it was like 1,000+ players for VGC, which is video game championships, and then like 2,000 players for TCG. So it was a lot. We get to the venue on time. Nothing too crazy happens yet. Before we go on to for storytelling purposes, I would like to share the team. As you can notice, we got some characters on screen. We got Cleaver, Talonflame, and Floette. So without further ado, we're going to share the team. This team was made by Joe Ugarte, who is a prominent YouTuber, competitor in the Pokemon space, and he is Leslie's coach. He basically provided this team for us, and our team wanted to, from the beginning, run the same six. And so what we settled on was a very intuitive, a very strong Mega Floette team. Mostly offense. So here we have Mega Floette as our primary Mega with the Light of Ruin. This thing is just built to just go fast and hit hard. I really vibed with this team because I also like to just click buttons and delete things, and this made it very, very plausible. King Gambit, max attack, almost max, or max HP, almost max attack, some defense investment, adamant. Pretty standard. We did not run low kick on this because I think we had a couple other answers for opposing King Gambit, so that was nice. Basically, Joy Scarf, you love him, you hate him. We picked Jolly Joy Scarf just so he would go as fast as possible. This is like our end game sweeper. Bulky Garchomp, pretty straightforward. I think the only kind of unique tech here was we went with Poison Jab instead of Rock Slide because of another patch that we made in the team with the next Mon. But the Poison Jab was very useful in dealing with opposing fairy types, as well as, like Whimsicott, stuff like that. Cleavor was kind of our interesting tech. Max speed, max attack, focus sash, jolly, so it moves fast. Cleavor was kind of developing at the time as an anti-Charizard threat. Stone Axe makes it so that when Charizard switches in, he loses like half of his health. Close combat is really nice into the pre-mentioned King Gambit. Feint was very handy, very cool. Basically allows you to bypass your opponent's protect and hit them straight up, which is great. And then Talonflame, my fucking go, bro. This Talonflame did so much work. Sharp Beak, dual wing beat, cleaned up so many games. Lets you hit through Whimsicott, helps you kill Sneaslers. My Talonflame, personally on my team, that was my MVP. I think Leslie said for her, Cleaver was her MVP. And then David really liked how the Basket Legion and the Talonflame felt on the team. So, but Cleaver was definitely a very fun Mon to use as well. Especially from my last tournament. One thing I really liked about this team was it was very straightforward to pilot, meaning that I didn't have to think too much about how to use a team. I could just focus on like how to play. And I think in a long day of games, that goes a long way. And that's actually something when I met Joe in person later in the tournament, that was definitely something that we that he said that I agreed with, that it's nice to have a straightforward team just to make it so that you don't have to think too much when you're playing, because you're already thinking so much, compounding across like so many other factors for the day. So we get there. Also, I included this picture, but at the end of the day, we did get a picture with the GOAT himself, Wolf. As you can see, note chat, he's putting his arm around me. I have not taken a shower since. I also shook his hand. I've not washed my hand since being at the airport. And I think we're just going to keep it that way. I am not a big, I don't really get star-studded that many times, but this is my GOAT, bro. I think at one point, Ash was like, I know this person because I hear his voice whenever his videos drop and you play him on the TV. So very excited for that. And that was definitely a huge highlight. In general, meeting people and also spending time with the people I went with, that was the main highlight. The games were kind of secondary. But with that being said, we're gonna hop into the games. So round one, I went against a guy who was running Rain. It was a pretty decisive victory. I believe I went 2-0. It came down to an end game with my Basculegion and a King Gambit versus his Basculegion. His team was kind of unique. A couple unique techs. His Raichu was interesting. Definitely provided a lot of fake out pressure, as well as, you know, getting Thunder in the rain, and having Thunder Rod or Lightning Rod or whatever. In this matchup though, my Bascu just swept. He did so much work, as well as the King Gambit. I remember at the end of the game, the guy who I played with was like, I expect to actually live, and I forgot that you had Tailwind at some point. At the beginning of Talonflame's illustrious career as well. And because of the Tailwind, my Basculegion was able to outspeed his. But he was kind of emphasizing that a lot, and I was like, I don't know, man. I think I still win. But first win of the day, feeling good. At this point, we're 1-0, right? And I am on top of the world. Going into round two. The team that I was fighting against was sorry, let me pull up my notes. So my opponent for round two, his name was Sehen. And this was easily my favorite game of the day. He was running a Mega Scizor and Mega Floette team. And basically just brought Mega Scizor the whole time. It was a Swords Dance Bullet Punch Mega Scizor. I have limited editing skills, so I hope you guys appreciate my Scizor with a sword who's dancing and has bullets in his punch. And actually, I did something that I am not particularly good at in Champions specifically, which is not bringing my Mega Evolution. I kind of immediately recognized that I really did not want to bring my Floette past game one. It was 3 games. First one I won pretty handily. Second one I left Floette behind, if I remember correctly, and he got me, but it was close. And then the last game was like down to the wire. He had 1 Pokemon left. He had his Scizor. Fresh, like no Swords Dances, versus my low health Talonflame and my King Gambit. And I had to decide. I knew that he was afraid of the Talonflame because the Talonflame could kill the Scizor with Flare Blitz. But my King Gambit wasn't strong enough to kill him outright. And I made a prediction where I protected my Talonflame from the Bullet Punch, meaning that my King Gambit was able to take 30% of his HP. Then I attacked again with another Kowtow Cleave from King Gambit, brought him down to another 30%. He killed the Talonflame, and then cleaned up with the last 30%. If I didn't get that protect off, he would have been able to not have to make a decision and just kill the King Gambit. And he was such a nice guy. He played incredibly well. And this was kind of the first game that I played that I was like, hot damn. Like, this is Pokemon. I think I literally ran up to Lucky, Leslie's editor, who was vlogging the whole thing, and I went, that's Pokemon, baby! It felt so good. He was such a sweet guy. It felt like just neck and neck, real Pokemon gaming, if you know what I mean. So was very, very excited for that. And also just on top of the world in terms of just feeling like I was playing real Pokemon. Like, I felt like I worked hard for the win, and I had a great match. So round 3 was very funny. I went against Christopher Hahn, who is an exceptionally good player. I cannot remember all of his achievements previously, and I did not know him before the match, but I do know he ended top 16. This is the team he was running. He was featured on stream, and one of the funnier bits was we sat down, and I could tell he's a serious player. nothing but respect, you know. Wasn't rude or anything like that. Just kind of very quiet, very like, oh hey, nice to meet you, Chris. Do you mind if I set up the room? Sure, no problem. Happy to help. All right. He said he was superstitious. I was like, no problem at all. Totally cool. And then as we're getting ready, the opponent, the guy who is sitting next to him, sits down, starts talking to his opponent, goes, "Oh yeah, how's your day going? Yeah, pretty good. Oh yeah. No, last time, at the NAIC last year, I got knocked out by Chris Hod." The guy I'm sitting across turns and goes, "Hey, that's me." And the guy goes, "Oh, nice to see you, dude." And at that moment, I knew that I was cooked. I didn't even know who he was yet, but just the fact that this guy referred to him by name, I was like, okay, this does not bode well. And also, we're up 2-0, right? So we're going against like people who have also won twice, meaning that the caliber of player is higher. I did not know how good he was, but I was about to find out. So already, I'm kind of feeling the spiritual pressure. I'm like, oh shit, like this guy's good. Like I could just tell. Also from the reactions. And so one thing that that Leslie's coach told her that she imparted to us that I thought was really interesting was he said most top players assume that if you're not in the group of players that usually top cut, you usually play like a bot, meaning that you usually go for the most obvious choice. And I was like, okay, if there's ever a time that is going to apply, it's going to be in this match. So round one opens, he's got his Whimsicott across from my Talonflame, and I forgot what the other slots were, but I'm going to attack right away. He thinks that I'm going to Tailwind because I know that I do not have the aura of a strong player, and obviously he's never heard of me. So he is going to assume I'm going to go for the bot play and go for the Tailwind. I'm going to dual Wing Beat into his Whimsicott. Get the kill. Somehow, game snowballs, and I win the first game. I'm like, holy shit, brother. And it was not an easy first game. I was sweating. I was stressed. It was tough. But won the first game. I was like, holy shit. I can't believe we made it. Game 2 rolls around. I realize who I'm playing against. Every decision, every option, it was like 4 to 5 turns of me just making the wrong decision. My brutish tactics, my vibes reading could only get me so far. I felt like, you know, in anime, when like the young buck hero, like he scars the villain, and then the villain gets up and he's like, ho ho ho. Is that all you've got? That was him, except he didn't say anything because remember, he's aura farming. He downloads me, he cooks my ass. I'm sweating. I'm like, oh holy shit. I don't know if I can adjust. I already used all my brain power on the first game, and this guy, like, easy peasy. So I'm like, oh fuck, man. Oh fuck, what do I do? Game 3 rolls around. I'm fighting. I'm clawing. I'm doing everything I can. I get a couple good reads. There's one play in particular that really stands out in my mind. I had Garchomp in front of his Whimsicott, hence the image below. I poison jab the Whimsicott. I'm using the tech that we came up with in the team. Whimsicott goes down to Focus Sash and then poison. Meaning that even though the Focus Sash helps him hold on, the poison damage is going to kill the Whimsicott afterwards. It was the one time I saw him react. He goes back in his chair when the poison procs. He goes, oh. And I was like, oh my God. I've made a god bleed. And so I'm like, holy shit, there's a chance. I'm fighting, I'm clawing my way out. And then it comes to an endgame situation. I kill one of his Pokemon, and then it comes back, and I forget that I've only seen 3 of his Pokemon, not 4. That is how outpaced I'm going. My eyes and my brain are having a hard time keeping up with what's going on in the field. He sends out Basculegion, and I go, this was my time. My King Gambit lays himself to rest, dies to a Charizard Heat Wave, and it is what it is. However, after the game, he said very genuinely, I will say, he said, you played really well, dude. I was like stunned. I went, oh yeah, bro, thank you, bro. You are cracked. Like, you are so good. Like, I could just feel it, right? Also, you guys know when you play, you're playing against somebody, they're just so much better than you. And I was like, yeah, like, I was still trying to figure out like how much he had played. And I was like, oh, how many regionals have you been to? And he goes, oh, I just aged up into Masters recently, but I guess including all of my like juniors and seniors, which are the younger layer tournaments. He goes, I've been to like 50 or so. And I go, oh, I've been to 2. And he goes very sweetly, he goes, you played really well for like only having gone to 2 regionals. And I will say, even though I lost this set, I felt incredible. The fact that a player who ended up getting top 16 that I was able to make a scratch, huge. Not 50 this year, 50 in his lifetime. But very clearly a skilled player, wonderful guy. I followed him on Twitter after this. I don't know if he'll remember me, but he was great. Great guy. Great match. One of those matches that makes you feel like even when you lose, you put your best foot forward. And I felt like the knowledge of like what I had learned from playing, even though I didn't have a lot of time to prep, actually paid off. And I will say in general, I'm pretty happy with my performance in this tournament. I did not practice all that much, because I was just been so busy with stream and work and everything like that. But very happy with it. I think this is kind of a showcase of like, you don't necessarily have to win to feel good about how you did. Round 4 was against a guy named Nolan. Nice guy. He was running a Mega Gomora team. And was pretty straightforward. It went to game 3. Most of my wins came from properly positioning my Garchomp to kill his Mega Gomora, which I was thankfully able to do. I played to my strengths, which is figuring out what line I need to take to win, or figuring out what resources I need to conserve. And when I saw the Mega Gomora, I tried to make Mega Gomora work before. That's this big flower thing. And I realized that the only way I could win is if I kept the Garchomp in place, meaning that I needed to kill the Lowland Ninetales, who's gonna one-shot my Garchomp. And so King Gambit basically cleared the way. King Gambit is not too afraid of Glamora, even with Earth Power, and is super threatening to the Ninetales. And so using King Gambit to clear the way, Garchomp came in, cleaned up both games, and that was great. However, this was the beginning of the great network delay of Indianapolis of 2026. For those who don't know, there can be delays often due to technical issues at Pokemon Regionals. One very notorious one was in that James Beck actually told us about in great detail, was in LA in 2025, I believe. I could be wrong about that, but they essentially had a delay of 3 hours, and the tournament ran until like midnight to like, I think even earlier in the morning. And so round 4, there's this moment where everybody's sitting and everybody's having a hard time connecting, and then they say over the intercom, or the judge walks by and he goes, is anybody having connection issues? And all of a sudden, as if we were students rising to oppose a tyrannical student government, all these hands started rising up. it's as if there was a sea of hands that rose that basically said yes, we're having technical issues, and that's when the great network delay started taking place. Thankfully, I was able to squeeze out my game with my opponent. Nolan was a great guy. I really enjoyed playing against him. Except that after our games, round 4 in total did not finish until 2:30, and it started at noon. So after this, everybody is essentially waiting around, and we are while they are trying to figure out what the network issues are. And thankfully, I had already finished my games, so I was just sitting around. I actually took a nap at this point, but I was getting really hungry. And the problem was we weren't sure like if we could go. Because like if they call you back and you're far away, then you know you're kind of cooked. And so we were assuming it would be finished sooner than not. And then slowly I started seeing people bring more food. Actually, a dad sat next to me and the tables that we were sitting in the back, and he had this like really good looking like chicken tikka masala dish. And I could just feel the hunger pangs. Remember, no coffee, forgot to bring snacks, and just a bad situation. Funny story. So the three of the people in our group, myself, David, and Abe, all finished our games, and we're just hanging around. Abe is like, I'm losing my mind. I'm so bored. I'm trying to stay hopeful. David is always a man of mental fortitude, so he was not getting miffed. But Leslie, funny enough, basically had to sit around at her game for like an hour and a half. Like, they told her to take a break, then come back, then she sat to play the game, then it still took time to connect, and that was like maybe 2/3 to 1/2 of the group who had to do that. And so this is kind of the beginning of my end. At this point, we're 3-1. We're feeling up. Most of the group is like 3-1. I think David was like 2-2 at this point. But we're feeling good. And then finally, after the delays, I got like a fruit cup because I at the concession. Oh, and then in addition to this, also all the bathrooms stopped working. So no bathrooms. Everyone had to line up at one bathroom. Not a great concession stand. And just waiting around endlessly. Not a great time. However, after that all gets wrapped up, we're finally in. Where is it? We're finally in round 5. My round 5 opponent, this was a bad situation all around. Essentially, my opponent hated Mega Floette. If you guys remember, your boy running Mega Floette. On top of this, I am starving. I am starving. I am decaffeinated. I am tired. Clean 2 games. I like didn't have the mental wherewithal I had in that previous game where I was like, oh, I did something crazy. I didn't even bring my Mega, something I never do. I could not think about what Pokemon to bring. I brought Floette every time and just got absolutely stomped. The guy said he was a Magic the Gathering player, and I could definitely tell in terms of like turn economy, everything like that. He was on it. Really nice guy. He added me on Discord afterwards, and I found his team really interesting. It was basically like a Megazard X. A Megazard X team where he would cycle and support it a bunch. And then with Breaking Swipe, it made it impossible to kill. So that was a quick wrap, and that was sort of the beginning of the end. This is 3-2 for me. And then the last game, I was playing so terribly. And I'm not even gonna front. This round was super frustrating. So the first round, I am just making bad decision after bad decision. I'm really feeling the lack of hunger, or the lack of sleep, and the hunger and the waiting pile up. What are the moves that I make? Like first turn, first game, I like don't even lock in my moves correctly. Second turn, I sucker punch into his Talonflame, even though I know for a matter of a fact he's gonna do Tailwind. I literally clicked the move and I was like, fuck. I get creamed round one. Round two, I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna drop after if I don't win this game because I'm not feeling great. If I keep playing, I'm just gonna and I lose, I'm just gonna be tilted and or like be on the path to getting tilted, and that's like the number one thing I don't want to do. Because there's like other things to do in the day, and for me, if you lose 3 times, you can't make day two. And even though I'm not expecting to make day two, I kind of treat it like a roguelite where you have this run, and after a certain point, if you like can't make it anymore, then it is what it is. um and so that was kind of a rule that I came with myself. And so we're going to game two and I go, you know what, I'm not thinking straight, I'm just going to pick what I think feels right to me. So I don't remember his team comp exactly, but I remember being like, I'm just gonna pick Floette, even though I don't think Floette is good here because he had Mega Glamora, who is like a big natural predator to Floette. I'm gonna bring Garchomp. I'm gonna bring Cleavor, even though I don't know if Cleavor is good here. I just think he's tight. And I'm gonna bring Talonflame because he's been doing the work for me. And somehow I squeeze out game two. The pendulum has shifted. We're thinking, okay, there might actually be a chance. We're 3-2 right now. We could be 4-2 after this. We were looking at the end, but we somehow squeezed out a game. Second game is close. He misses like 2 moves on my Garchomp, who's the Glamora's main answer. We're cooking. Last turn, he has his Mega Glamora and he has his Ninetales. I have my Floette and my Talonflame. In my head, I'm thinking, okay, I can just Dazzling Gleam, which hits both of his opponents with my Floette. Even if his Glamora kills my Floette, it doesn't matter because Garchomp's in the back. He'll sweep with 1 Earthquake. And then my dumbass forgets that he has Tailwind up. So if I had just protected my Floette and then tailwinded with my Talonflame, I would have won. Instead, because I forgot he was able to move first, he kills my Floette. Garchomp comes onto the field. My Talonflame can't do anything because it's encored into Tailwind. I go for an Earthquake on Garchomp, kills the Floette. The Ninetales lives on 19 HP. Because the snow is up, Ninetales has higher defense, so I miscalculated thinking that I could kill it. And unfortunately, I couldn't. I was 1 silly button press away from winning and going 4-2, which would have felt incredible. However, it is what it is. I kind of took that as a note that, like, I am mentally burnt out. And even though it was a frustrating loss, you know, there's other things that I could have done to prevent it. But 3-3, very happy with that run. I decided to DQ. I don't want to keep playing. I feel like I am very happy with my performance. My losses were close, except for that one against the Zardex. My losses were close. I really buckled down, and I definitely learned some valuable lessons for the next time. One thing I will say as well, on the plane, I started playing that new game, Mina the Hollower, which was really fun. And by like round 5, every time I opened my Switch to play Champions, I was like, damn, I kind of want to play Mina the Hollower right now. So I took that as a side. I hung out with Lucky, who's a great guy. We just kind of shot the shit. And supported my friends through the rest of their games. But 3-3, very happy with it. The last regional, I went 2-6. Felt awful. One of the things I learned from the last regional as well was like, don't keep playing if you're just gonna get frustrated. Like, it's a long day of playing. It is totally understandable to get burnt out. Decision fatigue in this game is so real. So yeah, happy I dropped out. Happy I had the discipline to drop out and like the respect for myself to drop out rather than feeling like I was forced to keep going. And all in all, it was a great experience. And yeah, so after that, we wrapped it up. Everybody, I think, ended like 4-4. For the most part, I think Leslie ended 4-4, David ended 4-4, Abe ended 3-5. But it was a great time. And then afterwards, we got dinner. Um, got this duck dish at the restaurant we went to, as well as this drink. And then we went to karaoke after. Which the karaoke story was a trip. Essentially, we were looking for a karaoke place. We knew we wanted to go karaoke, and there was two karaoke places we were going to go to. A typical American karaoke place, and the only Korean karaoke place we could find was called Maru. So we go to dinner, then we hop into the Uber, and we go to Maru. And we walk in, and the attendant, the guy who was working there, he's this tall, half black, half Korean guy. And without even saying hello, without even dropping a beat, immediately he goes, "Hey, you guys know how to use a gaming PC?" He did not recognize like Leslie as being like a gaming streamer or Abe being a gaming streamer. He just knew intuitively that these four people walking in were gamers somehow. He's not even like, "Oh, welcome to our..." No, immediately he's like, do you guys know how to work a gaming PC?" So we're like, sure. And so he whips out this like gaming case, and then Leslie and David are like being like, "Oh, like what can we do? Like what's going on?" And he's like, "Oh no, it's plugged in. I don't know what's going on internally." He pulls open the cover of the PC and is like, "Yeah, I built this by myself today." He's just going full on in it, bro. He's like, these guys are here to help me. Eventually he gets us situated in this room for karaoke, and he just keeps coming in and out. He's like, at one point he's bringing us drinks, and he goes, he doesn't know that like Abe and Leslie stream or that I stream. He just goes in and goes, "Have you guys ever thought about like a streamer city, like a city just made for streamers?" We are fucking losing it, bro. He is just like, he is out of this world. He does not know like what is going on, but he knows that we are his friends. Eventually we're like in this room. This is the first room we were in, and the microphones were like crazy. Like they would not work. It sounded like we were underwater. It was crazy. Eventually his mom comes in, sweet tiny Korean lady, and David, being a kind, like ideal Korean boy, goes, "감사합니다." Basically daps her up in Korean. She's like, "Oh, I trust you guys." She brings us into the bigger room. And the whole time the guy's just like coming in. I could tell when his mom came in, he was like, Mom, I got it. You're embarrassing me. Mom, oh my God." He didn't say that out loud, but it definitely felt that way. And then throughout the night, Aaron Zhang from Cybertron VGC, who is like one of my Pokemon YouTuber goats, joined us, as well as James Beck and Joe Ugarte, and we just karaoke the night away. It was a surreal experience, basically being able to do karaoke with three of my YouTube goats. And like, I don't really get, I never really cared too much about meeting creators. I'm a big proponent of like never meet your heroes. But the fact that like we were able to meet them and hang out with them was crazy. Additionally, Aaron Zhang, bro, that guy knows how to karaoke and he knows how to drink. One thing that I do when I'm hanging out with friends is if we're doing shots of soju or shots in general, I'll pre-pour the shot, not because like you need a drink first, but because I'm like, when we do want to take a shot, you don't want to be like, "Oh, give me 1 sec, blah, 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 blah," right? Every time I'd pour one, he was standing next to me. he would grab it immediately and take it. And I was like, so that was really funny. And then another thing that was funny is we were doing like lose yourself, and like, dude, he was going at it. Like, I respect another motherfucker who knows how to karaoke. I don't know if you guys can tell, I'm kind of loud and I do like to sing a lot. So karaoke is kind of like my domain expansion. And it was peak. At one point I remember we were singing and we had a shot, and both of us paused in the middle of the song to go, like, during a riff, to go, oh, really quick. It was so much fun. It was also the first time I karaoke'd with my 3 friends here, and it was just great. This was definitely, I have to say, a night to remember, a night I will definitely remember for the rest of my life. Such a fever dream in terms of being able to meet people who I like, watch their content every day and I admire. Crazy that like the one Korean karaoke bar in Indianapolis presented such goofy characters. Yeah, Loker, genuinely one of the best nights of my life. You could not make that shit up, for real. And then we drank a lot, had a great time, and eventually it was time for bed. So on the third day, pretty straightforward. I slept till 2 o'clock. I remember waking up at like 7 or 9 or something like that, and I could like feel the hangover. It was like a specter hanging on my shoulders. And eventually I like woke up. I was like, ugh, and then I went back to sleep, and eventually I like slept it off, which was kind of crazy. And afterwards we get some coffee. We go to this really cute coffee shop. It's called Good Vibes Cafe. It was like an Asian coffee shop, and so me personally, I was like, we gotta support. At a pandan latte, it was fantastic. If you're in the Indianapolis area, highly recommend Good Vibes Cafe. It was very good. And then eventually we go watch the finals. One thing I forgot to mention too is at the end of day 2, we did go to see Wolf performing on stage, or playing on stage versus another player. We make it just in time to watch the last semifinals match and then grand finals. This is our photo of all of us here, and then this photo here is us like watching it. That we had to sit on the ground because like all the seats were taken. But it was hype. I imagine it's like what a professional chess tournament or what a golf tournament looks like, because like they would make a move and then people would go, oh, like a Pokemon would get flinched and people would go, ah, and then like a bird would go off and go, ooh, and then they like do a lead and do a play, people go, ah. So it was really funny. But I will say, even more than my own play, being able to watch the first grand finals of Pokemon Champions between 2 very interesting players. You had Wolf, who is on track to win his 11th regional, versus Arsal, who is a player that I don't believe had won a regional before. Wolf is running this kind of like weird anti-meta Mega Steelix team. And then Arsal was running the pretty standard Charizard Y team with a couple adjustments that was made it more bulkier, I think, compared to most of the offensive Char Y teams. And yeah, it was like we were watching history in the making. If you haven't watched it, I suggest you do. But spoiler alert, Wolf did lose. Arsal won. I said Arslan like this was Tekken. Arsal won. It came down to one very specific play. Arsal took game 1. Wolf looked like he was ahead in game 2. And it came down to one very specific read from Arsal. At this time, Wolf was looking pretty well positioned. And he makes a read here that when we saw it in person, there was like a like a notable shift in energy in the room.
And you do get the Intimidate, so Talonflame now is only at -1.
So at this point, he has Charizard Y on the field. He has Incineroar, and then he has Wolf has Talonflame Sinistra. At this point, the game before, Arcel was playing with his Char Y so immaculately. I think some people in this matchup wouldn't even think about bringing their Char Y, but I think he did regardless, and he was really, really good about it. Would not Mega right away because he knew he had to contest with the Tyranitar Sand. Was willing to rip Heat Waves. And he also, like, not only, he was like gifted by divine right. Not only were his plays really immaculate and so well played, but also he did not miss a sleep powder. I think in the first game he landed like 3 sleep powders. For those who don't know, a sleep powder is roughly like has a 1 in 4 chance to miss. The math is a little more complicated than that, but for like storytelling's sake, we'll say 1 in 4. And by the 4th time he launched his sleep powder, we were like, it's gotta miss. It's gotta miss. It hits. So not only was Arcel playing so hot, but his luck was also so good. So
+1 rather, and you have the option to potentially swap out
this turn
Charizard for Garchomp while you fake out the talent.
He brings in Tyranitar to threaten this. I think Wolf here had assumed that Charizard goes for Heat Wave here to be safe, especially because if the Heat Wave hits the Tyranitar and he doesn't Mega Evolve, he can Mega Evolve next turn to get the Sun Up. And then if it burns Tyranitar, who can't attack right away, he's good. And that's sort of how he had been playing the whole time. Very patient with the Charizard. Except this turn.
Flame, that still opens up an avenue for you to outspeed this no Gale Wings Talonflame.
He Mega Evolves on the Switch.
Still a Mega Evolution on the table for Wolf.
Gets Sun Up.
Turn, but the Sun will be active,
and here we think he's gonna click Heat Wave
to start things off. Incineroar goes for the fake out, going to stop this Talonflame in its tracks. And so it's not going to be able to get a turn off for this one, but Charizard goes for Solar Beam. Instead of Tyranitar on
you
the
hear the
other
room.
side.
Oh.
Charizard lets the Solar Beam rip. That poor Tyranitar is on the receiving end and gets one hit knocked out on the switch in.
No more sand at all for this game. Wolf loses turn.
And that basically sealed the game. This next turn, this basically seals the game for him because without Tyranitar to contest the weather and with his Steelix asleep in the back, this Charizard can just run wild. Such a crazy play by Arcel, really paid off. There is one more play here that Wolf does where he Brave Birds into the Char Y. And it lives with 1 HP. Not Focus Sash, not just pure fucking grit. Lives with 1 HP. And that's game.
Tyranitar to a huge call. That is a major Solar Beam there. Makes a lot of. There is.
I think the 1 health.
Just
this.
we get +1.
Yeah, this was crazy. Uses Brave Bird. Oh, you guys can't see it. But here he lives with 1. Basically, that's a wrap. That's game. So that was, you know, I would say it was a bummer. We were definitely rooting for Wolf, especially because he had put his armor on me the day before, which permanently changed my brain chemistry. But I will say for Arcel, very well deserved win. He played like crazy, and I think it's a great story line for champions that like this player who had basically been wanting to win a regional for so long was finally able to. And the fact that he defeated Wolf Glick of all people, you know, kind of crazy. And ultimately, Wolf still qualifies for Worlds, so, you know, not the craziest thing. I'm sure he really would have loved to win the first one, but ultimately, like, you know, still great. And so that was my Indie Regionals trip. Some advice I wanted to share prior to closing this out and just some things that I learned. First thing, sleep well, eat well, play well. I cannot tell you how mentally fatigued I was, not just from playing the game, but from being tired and being hungry. bring snacks with you, bring plenty of snacks, bring a freaking lunchbox, brother. It'll go a long way. And if you can, sleep well. Secondly, go with your friends. I know this might be harder for some people. It might be tough to go with friends. But I think having a team to go with, it just makes the whole experience so much better. You can commiserate with your friends. You can check notes. You can prep. It was, you know, I highly recommend going with your friends. For me, unless you are being top 1 player in the world, you have no reason not to enjoy a community with your friends in these games. While getting better is like a huge appeal of the game, building community, I think, is the thing that will last longer than your than whatever skill you come in with. And lastly, prepare for the unexpected. I even knew, I was saying beforehand, of course you're gonna have tech issues with the new game. And I wish that I had planned like a contingency, or I was more proactive in my decision making. And unexpected things will always happen. Bathrooms will break, internet will go out. The best thing that you can do is poop in your hands and then hide it in the trash can. No, the best thing that you can do is just prepare for whatever thing may happen, and be flexible. The tournament might go long, there might be issues, but the one thing that you control is your recognition of situations. So that was it. That was my experience for Indy. I'm so happy to have shared that with you guys. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe and follow me on Twitch. Peace out. Love you very much. Okay. All right, chat. I see you little goobers down there making a ruckus. Who do you think you are? You're caught. You're caught. I found you. What'd I do this weekend? Oh, I can tell you. Hey guys, so this was my experience at the Indianapolis Pokémon Regionals. It took place in Indianapolis, known as the Crossroads of America, with friends, food, and fun. And I apologize for any of this being scuffed. I do have a day job. So this is the... Okay, I'm done. You think you got me. Where was I born? In the year 1995, in a sleepy town north of Los Angeles. Anyways, okay, I want to catch up on some chat messages. Chess, thank you so much for saying I had great storytelling. I appreciate that. The protein, yes, I saw the protein bar thing. For the record, we ordered protein bars, but they didn't come. There was like issues with that. Okay, I had it. I just left it in the room. Blah 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 blah. No, the wedding will be fine. There won't be any protein bars at the wedding. Okay. The one that you bagged me with, it was gross, man. What do you want me to say? Actually, I will say one hack. I definitely think bring a lunchbox. I actually just bring like a sandwich. Like bring a sandwich and bring like fruit and chips and like everything that you need. It'll make a huge difference, frankly. Let's see. Sleep. Hello, hello, hello. I don't know if you heard me say hello to you as well. Sorry for not responding. I just wanted to make sure that you know, we I wanted to make life for my editors easy by not constantly talking to chat, but I did see you. Thank you. I appreciate it. I was stressing out trying to get this done before. Just bring food, chips, a sandwich, assorted nuts, whatever you can for fuel. Yeah, I definitely agree. Actually, what I said about the neck pillow on the flight, honestly, a neck pillow at this thing would not hurt. Also, I know that everyone here mostly showers, but please, for the love of God, if you're going to a gaming event, please shower. We are the tide that raises all boats and the shower that cleanses all grime. Number 4, karaoke at the end. Very true. Very true. Have post plans. Get the social YouTube. Oh, that's true. That's true. That's true. I will update that. But we do have that, so follow me on there. Let's see. Bring a travel toilet. That is a good idea, actually. Protein bar would have came in clutch. It's true. It would have. Wolf losing scares me. Next tourney he will play meta Pokemon. I don't really know. I read his team report for the team, and he was like, I think it could have performed better. So I did think that was interesting. I think that he felt like he had to do a lot of work, so I do think he'll change. I just don't know if he'll change to like playing something that's super meta as well. This guy doesn't miss his sleep hours. Graph, thank you for the notes mid-presentation. It definitely helped me remember stuff. I forgot about that, but yeah, his luck was just on fire. Arslan Ash. Yeah, that's the guy. Witness history. We did witness history. The mid-song shot was crazy as well. I just loved having someone who matched my energy for karaoke, though. That was really awesome. Let's see. But yeah, all in all, I will say fantastic trip. Beat almost everyone with off meta mega. Needs to perform better. Yeah, actually. His team report was really interesting. I do think that like his team seemed super hard to pilot. There was some interesting tech I liked on it that I was like, maybe I could steal this for a Mega T-Tart team without the Steelix. But I think the Steelix basically alleviates that Mega Tyranitar to not have a third attack, and it can go for Dragon Dance since you have high horsepower and Heavy Slam to cover the things that like you would usually want that third move slot for. So yeah, I agree. The fact that like he led so many times with dual mega just to put his opponent in a tough position, but then he has to decide who to mega. That shit seems so tough, man. I did not see any mega aggron. Alrighty. Been 2 hours of just yapping. You guys want to play some games? You got games on your phone? We are going to Professional Yapper. That's right. That's right. Let's see here. Metal Greymon. Yeah, Metal Greymon. I hear he's been doing well in the meta. He doesn't perform so well against Charizard, so you know, it is what it is. We are gonna knock out our 2x dailies because the battle pass yearns to be finished, and I don't game off of this broadcast as much as I used to. And we still have to feign to be a bit of a 2x channel, so we're gonna do some 2x dailies, and then I think we're gonna play Subnautica. But thank you everybody for joining stream today. I missed you guys and appreciate all of you participating. Anyone have any news they want to share? Any updates in their lives? I know I was doing a lot of sharing, and you know, I know this is my broadcast, but like, let's not make this so centered around me. It's about the interplay between streamer and audience, no? Congrats on graduating. That's huge. You can a friend of yours went to a Pokemon tournament? That's tight. He sounds like a annoying little piece of shit. Thank you.